All right, today on Daybreak, to our first discussion, we will be talking about a woman in politics and why they are so underrepresented. Now, women's roles and functions are linked to the cultural, social, political, and financial environments they live in. When attitudes and practices tend to be conservative, men tend to be more privileged at the expense of women, and the role of the latter is definitely reduced. Many societies have discriminatory practices between men and women, and this is because of the patriarchal tendency to place women in an inferior position. Some societies have them or have become aware, and campaigns have been launched to eradicate this gender-based discrimination. Several promises aimed at empowering women have been made in the past by successive governments, with many of them remaining unfulfilled. Now, today, we have, with the help, we have in the studio someone to help us answer some of these questions about poor representation of women in leadership position. A politician, a women's rights activist, and the chairperson, Progressive Youth Movement, Princess Zara Mustafa Audu. Good morning, Zara, and welcome to Daybreak.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Good morning, Nigerians.
Welcome to the program. Now, the question many would ask is that preparations for 2023 are underway, and some would say, where are the women?
Well, we're here. I mean, obviously, I'm an example of an active woman in politics. So yes, we are we're contributing our quota. We are part of the APC extraction. We just had a women conference which brought all the women from 36 states of the Federation, including the FCT, to Abuja to basically come together and synergize and strategize towards the 2023 elections, and more importantly for now, towards our convention, which is coming up on the 26th of February. I believe the APC will, our leaders have heard us loud and clear. They are aware that, there has been some deficits in the representation of women in leadership from the party level all the way to governance and executive positions. And we're not just going to sit back and ask or whatever. We're going to present ourselves. We're going to work twice as hard. We're going to work harder than the men. We're going to continue to show the world, Nigerians as a whole, that we are capable of being good representatives, whether it's from the House of Reps, House of Assemblies, governorship aspirants, etc. So I believe 2023 has a lot more to offer for women, and especially for the younger generation of Nigerians.
Okay, now politically, women have actually been relegated to the background. Now, despite tremendous efforts, put forward by government and also non-governmental organizations, why is this still an issue in 2022?
I'll tell you something. I think a lot of it has to do with the African culture. I was at a meeting yesterday, and I'll be honest with you, because the political environment it's really a man's world. It's very uncomfortable. So 90% of the time as a woman, even just being in the setting, in the meetings, you're always outnumbered. Most of the time you find that you're the only one there, so that in itself is not the most comfortable situation to be. But also our culture has always taught us that, women are the mothers, they are the caregivers, they are at home, they are cooking, they are taking care of the family. So it's a culture thing. It has a lot to do with the way we reason our mentality. So we need to be deliberate about, making Nigerians, first of all, the people understand that yes, we are the mothers, yes, we are the wives, but we also have a lot more to offer and add to building our nation. And I think this is why some of us, even though it's not the most comfortable thing, to be honest with you, to be in a political setting, but we're deliberate about, putting ourselves in these uncomfortable positions because we know we have more to offer. So I think it has a lot to do with the Nigerian culture, to be honest.
Okay, so in 2019, women had only 45%, representations, particularly at the state level. Do you think that is going to change, in 2023?
I don't think we had up to 45% representation at the state level. You're talking about all the states in the Federation. It's it's unlikely that we had that much. I would say we have more like 15% if we're lucky. And I think it's not for us to be wishful. It's not for us to want it to change and just be praying and hoping that it changes. It's for us to take active and deliberate steps towards changing it. an example again, like I would refer to, was the women conference that was held here in Abuja. That's a deliberate attempt at making a difference. Women need to come together more. Another problem with women generally, whether it's in politics, whether it's in business, whether it's in life, is that women, we seem to be our own biggest enemy. We hold each other down. You know, there's a lot of, with women around each other, there's a lot of envy and, oh, why is she wearing that? Why is she? No, but men politic different. Men are about interest. I can walk with you because A is going to, you know, result to B. But for women, they are more interested in, oh, why does she look a certain way? Why does she sound a certain way? Why does she dress a certain way? That's none of our business. We need to keep our eye on the ball. We need to understand that if we align and if we can come together and if we can hold hands, maybe we can achieve so much more, you know, and we need to be deliberate about it. You know, for me, to be honest with you, I even feel that a lot of females that I've come across in positions of authority, we play lip service, right? We say one thing, but we do something else. We say we want more women, but we are the first to shut the door when we see younger women coming up. You know, so we need to be deliberate about extending the reach, because men do it every day. They build prodigies, they build, that's what they even say, you know, these leaders' boys. I've never seen a female leader and they say, oh, those are her girls. We haven't seen it, which means we haven't been deliberate about helping other women into positions. So it has a lot to do with also us as individuals trying to, I think we need to overall play politics a bit differently if we want to advance, you know, one, if we want to succeed in 2023. So the ball also still comes back to us as women. We need to be more understanding towards each other, encouraging towards each other, and we need to shelve the envy and jealousy and all the other things that are just distractions and stop us from achieving the bigger goal.
Okay, so why is it difficult for women to actually have leading functions, especially in political parties, or be elected in, you know, electable leadership spots?
Again, you know, I still think it stems back to our culture. Men are always seen to be the head and we are the support system. So it's very difficult for the men themselves to accept that we can be the leaders and they can be the support system. It's a difficult one, you know. And also, are these women putting themselves forward for these positions? As it is, I'll use the APC as an example. I have not seen any female aspirants for the position of chairmanship. I challenge them to come out. Maybe if they came out, things would be different. And you know, like they say, Rome was not built in a day. So you coming out and losing is not the end of the world, but at least you're showing people that women have an interest in this position. But if you don't even come out at all, it means that there isn't even there's no even thought process that says a woman can be a chairman, you know, because they're not presenting themselves. So I think the leaders who are there, who are better positioned to run for this kind of things, should present themselves, and let's see what happens. At least it's a step in the right direction when we start having aspirants who are female.
Okay, so how would you say the cost of governance, you know, affects women's participation in politics?
Well, in terms of that, if we want to be fair, I'll use the APC as an example again, because I don't really know what other political parties do. But I know within the APC, I think it's half price for women. I think there's even some positions that may even be free for women. So in terms financially contesting or even aspiring is not the problem in terms of finances to actually pick up a form or, you know, whatever. It's significantly cheaper for women. The lobbying part of it is difficult because, of course, you know, like I said, because we've always been put in the background, because we've always been made the support system, financially we do not have the same muscle strength as the men do. There are very few of us who are billionaires, in quote, whether in business or politics or whatever, because we have to juggle between being the wife, the mother, and other things. So, and we prioritize our families, so we can't, obviously we're not competing at the same scale as the men are. But I also still believe that, you know, one step at a time, let us start to put ourselves forward for positions. Win, draw, lose, it starts to make at least even people think that there's a possibility that a woman can actually even fill that position. So I think that would be the first step before we start worrying about the, you know, the finances. Like they say, if you're not in the race, there's no even probability that you can even be a winner. So at least you need to even be in the contest to be able to be to even imagine that you can win. If you don't buy the lottery, you can never be a winner. So we need to at least even try to be part of the process. And then, who knows, maybe one day one of us would become a chairman of a great party like the APC.
Okay, now can you share your thoughts on gender quotas in Nigeria? Do you think it's working?
No, I don't. I don't. It's two things. First of all, I don't like the sentiments and the pity that is attached to it. Yes, it's a good thing for us to say we're deliberate, we want 35% representation, etc. So far, we haven't seen. I haven't seen any government that has been able to implement this into reality. I haven't seen it. But again, even at the just concluded women conference, I think one of the topics that was taken away from that was the fact that how we don't even want it to be limited to 35% or whatever percent they want to. We want to be at par with men. We want to be able to go for any positions. We want to be able to say, if a woman is more qualified for this, it should be given to a woman. It shouldn't just be because we want to fill a quota or etc. And we've also seen that, to be honest with you, for me, I feel Nigeria is at a stage where it needs nurturing. Women are natural at nurturing because of, being mothers and being wives, etc. Or even from being older sisters, we've always learned to take care of. And the country is at that stage where it needs to be nurtured back into what it will potentially become. So I think we need to be more, for me, I'm sending a message out to all the women. Please come out. Please let's support each other. Please let's make a deliberate attempt at changing ourselves, because if we don't change our mindset of feeling envious or jealous or trying to sideline other women, then we won't go anywhere. We need to come together. We need to work hand in hand. We need to be deliberate about pushing this message that, look, we're not even looking for a quota. We're looking to compete at par with you people, because we have what it takes to excel, So I think that should be the message in 2023, God willing.
Another contrary opinion, by some people in some quarters have said that low media coverage of female candidates is also responsible. Do you think that is so as well?
That could. I know, to be honest with you, in politics, perception is 99% the game. So yes, visibility is a very, very big part, because, I have, one of my political mentors always says that how the most beautiful woman in Nigeria is not the most beautiful woman, it's the most beautiful woman in the contest, those who put themselves out there. So again, I will keep saying to us as women, put yourselves out there. Yes, the media is a very powerful tool. Use it. I would also appeal to all the media anchors, when there are females in the race, engage them. Maybe the media anchors lean more towards the male aspirants because you automatically assume that it's going to be a man's, and it is. Honestly, we have to be realistic. Politics is a man's world. It's a very uncomfortable environment for us as a woman. But then I've always known that how we must move out of our comfort zone if we want to actually, get the best out of ourselves. So each time I feel uncomfortable, I just keep pushing myself further, and I know what I'm there for. I know I'm all about, a generational shift in power. I know I'm all about producing us deliberately being different. I'm deliberately showing people that good people can be politicians. Another reason why women try and stay away from politics is the fact that politics is termed a dirty game. So most women in politics, people attribute all sorts of things. Oh, she slept her way to the top. Oh, she's having an affair with this person. So these are some of the reasons why women do not want to be found in those settings. So we need to show people that it's okay to be, you can actually be a clean politician. You can actually be a good politician. You may not get there as fast. I know I'm not getting there as fast as many, but I'm going at my pace and I'm comfortable with it. It's definitely going to be a harder climb when you're not doing some of these vices that they claim women have to do to get to the top. But then the truth about it is that the foundation is all that matters. If you lay the right foundation, in time, your structure will grow to where it needs to be. And that's the message we should pass out, more importantly, to the younger female politicians who are coming after us. In fact, this term politician, it took me a very long time to be comfortable being referred to as a politician, because again, I always felt that politics was a dirty game. So I didn't really want to be associated with politics in that way, but I politic every day. So it would be ridiculous for me not to start to accept that, well, unfortunately or fortunately, I am a politician, but I do want to be a politician that is different. I want to make it known from the start that I'm principled, I have, I may not get where I want to get now, and I may not get where I want to get in 2023, but I'm going to keep the fight. I'm going to keep it because it has to be meaningful. It has to be more than just, personal interests. And I think that if we all started to see politics from that point of view, more of us will come in, more of us will make a difference, and we will clean up the political space. We may not be the direct beneficiaries of this labor that we're doing today, but the next generation after us will be. I'll give you an example. I'm a mother of 3. I have 3 daughters. So it's important to me that I show my kids that as a woman, there's no barriers. I don't have a son, so I can't even tell you that I'm doing this. So I need to show them that being a woman is not a limitation, it's an advantage. You can have it all. You can have the husband, the house, all the fancy things, and you can still make a difference in the world. And that's why I'm in this, doing what we're doing. So I encourage more women to try and do the same thing.
All right. Now, it is often said that women in office motivate other women. Now, in this case, would you actually say the woman in office, or once a woman is, elected into office, that she represents other women?
Yes and no. Yes, because for every woman that we have there, it inspires you to think, I could be her. And it's a good example for the younger generation coming up and saying, wow, she's doing it, so there's hope. I can do it. I'll give you an example. Kamala Harris, for her being Vice President of the United States of America, it gives hope. One day, hopefully, there will be a female president, and, there's that hope. But then on the other hand, right, most women in politics, once they have accomplished or they are in a position, I don't really see them mentoring or deliberately trying to bring up another generation of women. I haven't seen it. They need to make more of an effort. You even find that they got in there, they find the environment is filled with men. They don't try and bring more women in, they just work with more men. So they need to be deliberate about, building more women, encouraging more women to come up with them. And I think that would help make politics a bit easier for other women.
Okay. Now my next question is more personal, than technical. As a woman politician, could you talk to us about your experience? How has it been for you?
For me, like I said, initially I never wanted to be called a politician. So it's been a hard one because I see myself as a good person. I'm not perfect, far from perfect. I have my flaws, but I see myself as I like to see myself as a role model. So I'm deliberately hard on myself. I have a need to be principled. I have a need to do the right thing. I have a need to stand on the side of equity and justice all the time. Not because I'm such a good person, but because I deliberately want to be that example. So it hasn't been easy for me. It's been, like I said to you, I was in a meeting yesterday. Well, I went for a meeting somewhere, and I sat there waiting for who I was about to meet, and every single person, and mentally I was counting, right? There was over like 40, 50 people coming in and out, in and out, in and out. I didn't see one woman. Honestly, I didn't see one woman. And this is the kind of situation as women we find ourselves in every single day. So it's very difficult. But again, I have grown to the point where I know myself, I understand what I'm about. I believe this is my destiny. Just, so I have to find the courage every single time to make myself feel comfortable in an uncomfortable situation. Politics in Nigeria, politics in Abuja, because Abuja is still northern, whether we like it or not, is uncomfortable because it's a man's world. But as women who believe we have something to offer, we need to start to feel comfortable being within a man's world. It's so funny because most women refer to any woman who is strong, they're like, oh, she's strong, she's just like a man. What does that mean? Can we not excel by just being great women? Do we have to be said to be just like a man? So it's a weird one. It's a catch-22. But after a while, you get to that point where you realize that how you need to be able to take all of this and still keep your eye on the ball. So that's what I try and do. Just try and take my uncomfortable situations and just turn it into something comfortable for myself, you know?
Okay, now you'd actually agree that in order for women to be represented more, the political parties need to support them. Do you think these political parties actually, implement supportive measures to encourage women party members?
I think a lot of things in life, not even just politics, is a lot of eye service, right? We say the right things, we write the right things, so we have the right policies in place, but do we actually implement? So if you take, for instance, the APC, yes, we have policies in place that would encourage women. You know, there's even inside the Constitution, there's mention of how, where women, they've actually made provision for women to be involved, right? But when we talk about reality, in reality, who are the decision makers? When they sit down to make these decisions, do they make sure is there actually a female representative within? No. In fact, in some of the political parties, we've seen where things as woman leader is a man's position. I've come across a man who said to me, I am the director of women affairs. Really? But it happens. It's our reality. So yes, we have lip service. We say the right things, but do we do the right things? So these policies are there. Are they implemented? That's a different story. I would say no, they are not well implemented. Like I said to you, I was in a meeting and I start waiting for who, and I saw over 40 people. And this is what politics typically is. It's very rare. In fact, if you go into a meeting as a woman and you meet one other woman, you are so happy because it will be only the two of you. It's very rare for you to go into a meeting and you meet many. It's highly unlikely because it's a very competitive field. And unfortunately for us, politics is the biggest earner in Nigeria, right? So it's a field where everybody wants to come in, not even for the fact that they want to govern or they want to serve. They come in because they want to make money. And that's what men typically do. Men typically are the breadwinners, the family providers. So they are going to be in the industry, because politics now in Nigeria is an industry. They're going to be in the industry that has the most money to be made, which is politics. So no, you don't find a lot of women. And even when you find us, we're a lone voice. We're fighting. And then when we fight hard enough to even become a voice that you can hear, they say, she's like a man. So that's what happens.
Okay, so just a few days ago, some women came together, protesting for more women, for reserved seats for more women in Parliament. Is reserved seats what we need, or something else?
It's a tough one because of where we are at in Nigeria, and the fact that unfortunately we are at a disadvantage. I have to take this question from that angle. We're at a disadvantage, and they have deliberately sidelined us. So there's nothing wrong with them deliberately making room for us to come back in. So yes, in that normally I would say no, there's no need for it, because I kind of feel strange that I feel we have a lot more to offer than our male counterparts most of the time. But the fact that they are men automatically puts them ahead of us. That's what always happens. But at the same time, because they've deliberately sidelined us, there's nothing wrong with deliberately bringing us back in. And then when we have some form or some resemblance of a plain, an even playing field, then we can start to say, let's all compete. But now, to be honest, we are disadvantaged. Normally, it's like if you're running a race with a toddler, right? You put the toddler, how many meters I remember when we were little kids, right? They'll put like gaps. The younger ones will stay at the front, and we are the younger ones, so there's nothing wrong with them giving us some kind of advantage, especially if Nigeria, the thing with Nigeria that people don't get is the stage we're at, it shouldn't be about politics just for the sake of politicking. You know what I mean? We should be in it to make a real difference. The country is in a dire state. And for many of us, Nigeria is all we have. I'm purely Nigerian. Maybe not for our kids, but for us, we are Nigerian. This is our country. So we need to actually start thinking Nigeria first before. The problem is we're all in politics especially the men, for selfish reasons. So yes, I agree that they should try and be deliberate about, reserving positions for more women in 2023. I endorse that.
Now, talking about women inclusion, there was actually a report that was conducted recently, and it's on the evolution of women's entry in the parliament from 2000 to 2015 in Nigeria, and actually showed that from 2003 there was 4.9% of women representation. In 2006 it was 6.1%. In 2009 it was 7%, and then from there it took a downturn to 6.8 in 2011, then to 6.7 in 2014, and then 5.6 in 2015. It was actually done for the whole African country, but I'm focusing on Nigeria now. Now you can actually see that we went from go from here to here. So what strategies can be used to enhance women's political representation in different electoral systems?
I think, again, the most important thing is to keep encouraging more women, because there are so many capable women to present themselves. We all have mothers, sisters, aunties who we believe have a lot to offer. We should encourage them. Those who are not financially stable, we should be prepared to support them with our own financing. Thank God, we've evolved into crowdfunding. This is something that has to be encouraged, especially for women candidates who are handicapped when it comes to financial muscle to compete politically. But the only thing we can do, honestly, is get more women to present themselves. If you're not in the contest, you cannot imagine if majority of all the contestants are men. So do you just bring out a woman and say you're the winner? You must be in the contest. So it's for us to continually encourage more women to be on the ballot. And more importantly, the party for me is the foundation of everything. There's a convention coming up. Please, this is a call to all women out there. Present yourselves for positions. If you're not in the race, you don't even stand a chance to win. So please try and present yourself. Also, if we have more representation of women within the party, I hope that this would also lead to more women participating in 2023. So this convention can also be a good foundation for women to build towards the elections in 2023.
Okay, so now in your assessment, would you say Nigeria is doing enough, to ensure, gender parity in the political space?
I would say we need to fight. As women, we need to fight more for this. Nothing is given. When it comes to power, nothing is given. The fact that they've made some concessions is a good thing, but normally in power, not even for the men, they have to fight for it. So why do we expect that it's just going to be given to us? We should also take the bull by the horn and, work hard, and work twice as hard as they do. Wake up every morning and keep going at it. But we need to be deliberate about it. It can't be accidental. It can't be wishful. We cannot wish it into existence. We need to actually have a plan that takes us from A to B. Okay, if for this constituency, this woman is going to go and represent us for this. You actually have to have a plan. Even the men that are excelling in politics, it's strategy. They sit down, they have a plan, they have a team, they are committed to it, and they emerge. So why, as women, do we think that we are just going to sit down in our homes, in our houses, and people will just call us and say, oh, by the way, please, can you come and take this position? It's not going to happen. We need to put ourselves out there. We need to come together. We need to strategize and have a plan. That's the only way that we can truly be involved and, start to see changes.
Okay. So earlier off camera, you were talking to us about the move to ensure more youth inclusion in politics. Could you bring us up to speed with that?
Okay, so the progressive youth movement, what we've always been about since the beginning of last year, has been to ensure that there is a deliberate shift in power in Nigeria. I even think a lot of our leaders now, the elders, are on that same page, because I've been seeing a lot of articles saying that how there's need for younger candidates to take the leading position, presidential position, etc. It's important that Nigerians understand that it's not even so much about the party. It's the individuals. Behind the name APC is human beings. Behind the name PDP is human beings. So human beings are the problem, not the initials of the party. So we need to be deliberate about bringing in new people to solve this, the national problems that we face. Because for me, it's very, very simple. If you keep doing the same thing over and over again, how can you expect a different result? We have a culture of recycling leaders. One person will be governor, he'll finish from being governor, he'll go to Senate. He'll finish from being Senate, he'll tell you he wants to be party chairman. He'll finish from being party chairman, he'll tell you he wants to be president. But first of all, Mr. Governor, you had maybe 8 years or maybe 4 years. What did you do with that? That should be your CV that determines if you can take the next job in every field. In your field, you would progress based on antecedents, right or wrong. You wouldn't just progress because you're constantly in the field, hopping from one station to, that wouldn't be that's not what they would use to assess you, to move you ahead, right or wrong. So as Nigerians, we need to be deliberate about that. Anybody that has held so many positions and doesn't really have a lot to show us as antecedents should not even be trusted for anything else in the future. That should be an automatic disqualification, if you ask me. You should actually be looking for, if we've had the same problem since many of us were born. We've always complained, oh, there's no lights, there's no this, there's no basic infrastructure. We've never had that. I've never been I was born into a Nigeria that looked like this. I don't know about other people. I was born into a Nigeria when we were children, when they bring light, we say up NEPA. I think it's still today, it's the same thing. No, I'm being realistic now. I was born into a Nigeria where we have pumping machine and we pump our water. I still pump my water. This is a Nigeria that I've known. I've never known the Nigeria that our leaders knew, where things were so fantastic. So it shows us that we must be deliberate about doing something different. And whether we like it or not, this president gives us an opportunity that we are never going to have again in a long time. You have a president who is not interfering. A president who actually wants the rule of law, democracy, the people's will. What do the people want? So the people should speak up now. The people should be clamoring for actual, tangible change. What is tangible change? You need to try out something new. You need to be deliberate about saying, at this point, right, where Nigeria is, I haven't even started the advocacy for more women. That is a topic that will come. But for now, the advocacy has to be, we need to be deliberate about replacing a significant number of our leaders. I'm not saying everybody will go, because Rome was not built in a day, but we need to be looking for the most competent in that generation and the most competent in our generation, and that would be a good marriage that would lead Nigeria to have productive children. You know what I mean? We need to be deliberate about it. And once we cross that bridge, then we would advocate and say, okay, and again, to be honest with you, if you even use the PYM as an example, we have members from every part of Nigeria. Every part. In total, I think about 9-point-something million members, and growing every day. A lot of them very, very strong men. In fact, we are able to achieve what we've achieved because of the men. But guess what? It's being led by a woman. It shows you that our generation of men are indifferent. And what people don't understand about leadership does not put you above anybody. Leadership means you are the arrowhead to go and do a duty. You still have to report to the people that you are doing the duty for. You know what I mean? But in Nigeria, it's the opposite. The minute you're in a position, if you're a minister, for your own people, your constituent, the people that you are supposed to be, you're dealing with their issues. Say, for instance, you're in whatever. I don't want to, so that they don't say I'm tagging anybody, but whatever ministry you're in, right? The people who you are, whatever services that the ministry you're in, the people who your ministry affects their service or their products or whatever, the private sector, they can't even access you. Accessing you becomes a hurdle. But you forget that you are there solely for the people, not for yourself. So I think it's us not understanding what people in position means. You holding a position does not even mean that it doesn't automatically mean you are above anybody. You know what I mean? It means you are a representative who is expected to do a job on behalf of the people. And normally when you are working for somebody, the person you're working for is your real boss.
Definitely.
What they don't understand in the real sense of it, even the number one position, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is working for the Nigerian people because he was elected by the Nigerian people, not by the party, but by the Nigerian people who went out and cast their votes. So in other words, do you understand? It's supposed to be more of a servant-leader relationship where I am trying to please the people who are my real bosses, not the other way around, that I'm trying to impose my will on them. But that's the situation that we find ourselves in Nigeria.
All right, but in a situation where you have youth in, leadership, positions, and then these youth were actually brought to that position by godfathers, and they do the bidding of the godfathers, while they're in that position. What do you think about that? Because I don't see them being original, or doing what they are supposed to do, or fighting for the rights of the masses, but instead it's whatever the godfather tells them to do that is being done.
I'll be honest with you, you said it all. And this is why, honestly, you said it. I can't say any better than you. He who pays the piper dictates the tune, right? So if you were put in there by your godfather, you have to do his bidding. I'm a very loyal person, so I believe in loyalty. If you do for me, I owe you, I will not betray you. So you cannot blame them. But also as young people, this is why we deliberately came together on the platform of the Progressive Youth Movement to fight and channel the cause of young people. So that as young people, when we bring other young people into positions of authority, we are the ones paying them, so we dictate the tune because it's on our blood and our sweat. I'll give you an example. The APC was not prepared to have a convention. As the young people within this party, the Progressive Youth Movement, the Rebirth Group, those two groups predominantly brought about us having a convention on February the 26th. So it shows us that anything we put our mind to as young people, we can do, right? So it's us channeling our energy in the right direction. And she said something and she smacked, the nail on the head. If the young people we are going to bring are being brought by godfathers, we won't see any difference. In fact, it will be worse because they can't even take a decision. At least the godfathers can say yes or no on the spot. They'll say, okay, I'm coming. And I'm coming can take 4 weeks, 1 year, 2 years before they have an audience with the real leader that will tell them how to go. So we need to make sure that we are putting our own young people. That even brings me to the topic of chairmanship for the All Progressive Congresses. As young people, we have been clamoring that we want to, we want to bring about change, we want to do about things differently. But each time a young person projects themselves or brings themselves forward, how many of us queue behind them?
Right.
You will check. There are several aspirants in the race, but the younger aspirants, who is queuing behind them? The older aspirants, all the work is being done by young people to try and make them emerge. Why are we not queuing behind one of our own? So we are also part of our own problem. These elderly men, when you go and visit them, they are aspirants. Don't get me wrong, they're not chairmen yet. The access to even get to them, you can't get to them while they're an aspirant. How will you get to them when they're a chairman? We need to ask ourselves the truth. There's a saying, your father's friend will always be your father's friend. Your friend is your friend. So we need to start understanding that how there is a disconnect between some generations and our generation, and there's no way to bridge that gap. There's no way you can tell somebody who is middle 30s to be able there's no way someone in the middle 30s or late 20s or whatever can relate to someone in the 70s. There's just a disparity. First of all, whether you like it or not, till tomorrow, even if you're a 50-year-old, your father will still look at you as his baby, or do you know what I mean? You will still go and he'll say, have you eaten? This is a grown woman who in her house is providing for everybody and making sure everybody has eaten. And he's still asking you, have you eaten? Did you, how was the job? Oh, come and do this. Because that's the way, it's love. But that's the way our elders will forever look at us as children. They won't give you the opportunity to do what you can truly do. So it's time. Yes, don't get me wrong. We will all be elders one day. So I appreciate them as elders. But I also feel that they have reached the point where they as elders need to say, we have done enough for the interests of the country. Let us encourage younger people to take up the mantle. They should be chairmaning this cause. And hopefully when we get to their age, or even before that, we will also deliberately chairman the cause of a younger generation. That's the only way Nigeria can progress. But the pace at which we are going nowhere. We're going in circles.
Exactly, that was what I was about saying.
Because we're going nowhere. So we all know we are going nowhere. We are going, you just said it. We were at 7 point something, we came to 4, we came to 5, we'll go up to 7, and guess what? We'll come back to 6 and 4. If we do enough of this pushing, right, we may go up to the 7 point something, and then the pushing, the agitation will stop. We will drop that. We're going in circles. We're heading nowhere.
But
so we must be deliberate about, let's pull the carpet out, let's start again.
But would there ever come a time when these old people would actually be the ones pushing the younger ones,
I'll give you an example, right? President Ibrahim Babangida, right? He's pioneering the cause for a younger generation. We have to be honest. Our president right now, President Muhammadu Buhari, I sat in a meeting with him and he said to us as young people, you must do things differently so you can get a different result. And in his words, he said, in me, you will find a partner. Let me tell you why I believe his words. When we first came out as the Progressive Youth Movement, we were just clamoring for youth inclusion. And then we said, what is the way to actually get youth inclusion? Let's partake in the upcoming convention. So we went to our leaders, please, when will we have this convention? That was our plan. Well, let's just, then they started rigmarole. There's no date for convention. No. So we realized that something wasn't adding up. How can a political party who was supposed to conduct a convention in 6 months has gone, 12 months has gone, 18 months has gone, there's a problem. This must be fixed. The only way we are in a democracy, the only way to truly make change in a democracy is through an elective process, right or wrong. You can't just go and I've taken charge. This is not a military, right? So we decided we must get them to set a convention date, which we have done. And during that process, where I'm getting to with Mr. President is that how some of our leaders became very aggressive towards us. They tried to use DSS to harass us. Yes, the instruction was that DSS should come, pack all the members, as many of us as possible, put us in an underground cell for however many days and do this and do that and do that. And what DSS did, which was, to be honest with you, very commendable, rather than just go by instruction which was given, they called us in several times, which in itself is inconveniencing. And you know what it means for security agency to be calling you back and forth, be drilling you, bring this, bring that, how do you do this, all of that. We went through that. But they gave a holistic report to Mr. President. And if Mr. President was not in support of young people, he could have shut us down. I want to be honest with you, easily, but he didn't. He didn't. And that shows me that he is true in his word when he says we should do things differently, and in him we will find a partner. That's number one. Number two, it was us, the young people of APC, that picked February the 26th. And today, who is enforcing that we have a convention on February the 26th? Mr. President. The only reason why that date has not shifted, has not been able to be moved, is because Mr. President has said, go ahead with a convention. So the opportunity is there, but are we willing to rise up and take it? This is really where it's at. As young people, we need to know, see, all battles are won in the mind. Nothing is too great. If our leaders during the military regime, let's even forget the military regime. If our leaders back in the day when we had before our independence, what do you call that thing before our independence? When we were still being ruled by the British people, if they could fight to liberate us from that and make Nigeria an independent country, right? Because it was the agitation that led to that. If they could do that, then what are we talking about? We're in a democracy where our voices actually matter. If our leaders back then could fight and liberate us from the military, who had guns, who could take a decision on the spot, and there's no question, there's no court that you can go to that would challenge a military administrator. You know what that means, right? Back then. Well, I'm a military child, so I know what I'm talking. If they could take those kind of decisions, who are we today that we don't think we can write? This is a democracy where we can talk, we have people like you. During the military days, people like you cannot have some of these conversations. First, you'll be scared for your life, and I would definitely be scared for my life. I won't come and talk about what? You know what I mean? But we have that now, and we are still not making the most of it. Then it's our fault. As young people, we need to come together. This has always been our message, and this will always be our message. We need to come together and be deliberate about taking power. Step one, chairmanship. We must support a young candidate to emerge as the chairman of the APC. Once we do that, then we started the journey. Okay. We've started the journey. I know right now that presidentially that we're not going to get it as young people. Right? But the chairmanship, the party is an institution, right? If we get it right with the institution, it means that we are now in the mindset of creating good leaders. Do you understand what I mean?
Right.
Because the institution is like a corner shop, like a supermarket. Only what you stock, what they stock, can you buy.
Right.
It's like me coming here. Only the questions you ask me can I answer. Do you understand? If you go into H Medics or whatever, and they say it's only Milo or Ovaltine, what can you do? You can only buy Milo and Ovaltine. And if you say you will not buy any, like many people say, I won't vote for anybody. But guess what? Somebody will still buy either Milo or Ovaltine. So you that you don't even vote for anybody, you are the worst kind of person, because you are the reason why some of the bad choices emerge.
Wow.
Do you understand? So we must fix it from the political party. We must be deliberate about APC needs a new face. APC needs a breath of hope. APC is the party of the people. It must be taken back to the people. APC has never been the party of power brokers. That has always been PDP's mandate.
Okay,
This is not ours.
thank you so much
we
for
have to stop
coming
you
on
there.
the program.
Thank you
This
so
morning
much.
it's been quite very interesting.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much for sharing your perspectives, you know, on women and underrepresentation in politics. Hope to have you again some other time. Yes, that was women's rights activist, politician and chairperson, Progressive Youth Movement, Princess Zara Mustafa Audu, sharing her perspectives. And with that, we wrap up a Daybreak today. It was quite an interesting ride.
Talking women, it's a very
Yes,
comfortable space, you know,
it
to
is.
be, and I'm really glad we talked about it this
Yes,
time
it
around.
did. All right, I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. Thank you so much for joining us.
And I'm Zainab Bala. See you tomorrow.